Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Thursday, May 8, 2025. I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Ahmed, and we've got a great show for you today. Now, today we're discussing how, in a historic move, Disney is to open the first Middle East theme park in Abu Dhabi. Secondly, Qatar Airways is lining up a Boeing order in time for Trump's visit next week, and Meta has won a $168 million verdict against Israeli spyware firm NSO Group. And finally, Tabby and Kitopi are weighing possible IPO plans.
Let's start with the biggest and the classiest and the coolest story of the day. The Walt Disney Company has confirmed it will open its first ever theme park and resort in the Middle East, located on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. The project will mark Disney's 7th global resort with a theme park and multiple hotels planned as part of the new development.
Significantly, Disney will not fund the construction of the resort. The entire project will be financed and developed by Abu Dhabi's Miral Group. Now, Disney will provide the creative direction through its Imagineering team and will earn royalties once the resort opens, expected in the early 2030s.
The business model reflects Disney's global strategy to expand its footprint without overextending capital. CEO Bob Iger told CNBC the process typically takes 2 years for design and 5 years for construction. Following the announcement, Disney's stock jumped 10% on Wednesday, boosted by also strong Q2 earnings and investor confidence in international growth.
Now, Disney's experiences segment, which includes parks and resorts, remains the company's strongest performer. In 2024, it contributed 37% of total revenue and generated 60% of Disney's operating income, making international expansion a top priority amid tighter streaming margins.
Also, Abu Dhabi offers a strategic location with over 500 million people within flying distance, including key markets like India. The new resort will join existing Yas Island attractions such as SeaWorld and Warner Brothers and Ferrari World, positioning the capital as a major global theme park.
Now, Disney says the Abu Dhabi resort will be its most advanced, yet blending regional culture with state-of-the-art technology. So basically what they're trying to do is they're going to make sure that it's Emirati themed. Now, a futuristic castle and immersive storytelling powered by Unreal Engine will reflect both Disney's innovation and the UAE's modern identity. Now, more development details are expected in the coming months. It's going to be really interesting to see. You never know, they might just give us an Emirati Disney princess just in time for the opening. They really might. But, just on the topic of Miral, the company that's actually going to be in charge of constructing everything, they truly are very trusted because, guys, they are who have given us Ferrari World, I believe also Yas Water World, Warner Bros. So they, when a company has shown success in the past, you know that in the future, what will follow will be even greater. So I think for me, I'm excited to see what they do with Disneyland.
There's a very interesting story that my wife told me yesterday. There's an Emirati influencer who runs an Instagram page, and he's very famous for announcing things before being announced. And he actually posted this story 3 weeks ago that there is a Disneyland coming.
Oh, they definitely all knew. I saw Chris Wade's stories.
Then eventually he deleted that part of the story, and then finally we saw this. So yeah, a lot of people knew about it, but it was like an inside story. Now finally it has been unveiled. Everyone is talking about it. The whole LinkedIn is full of everyone saying how impactful it will be for Abu Dhabi, because whenever we talk about some big attraction, we talk about Dubai, and it's kind of like the tourist hub, and it has been the tourist hub for the past decade. But Abu Dhabi is at par now, and with the sphere coming from Las Vegas, the first sphere is in Las Vegas, the second ever location, Abu Dhabi. Disney, after nearly 15 years, they're opening a new resort and Disneyland, and they choose Abu Dhabi. So Abu Dhabi's Yas Island, I think, is becoming the prime property right now. If you buy a house, by the time it's 2030, you'll get a lot of return because everyone will be going there. They'll need spaces to live. I remember there's this 7 hotel complex in Abu Dhabi on Yas Island, And we did a story back in August last year that one of the hotel groups, I think it's Hilton or IHG, they're buying all those seven and they're combining them into one combined resort as well. So people have already started planning things because they know there's so much coming. So everything is so with Ras Al Khaimah's casino,
Win Al
and
Marjan.
yeah, Win Al Marjan, and then Abu Dhabi bringing so many attractions. I think Dubai somewhere in between is like, okay, what's happening?
You know what?
We
you know
need to
what
come
I
up with
would,
something new as well.
You know what I think it is really, Majid? You know, you have Dubai, they have the Burj
Yeah.
Khalifa, and they have the Dubai viral chocolate.
Yep.
I would say that Dubai is, I feel like it is distinguished for good food, by the
Yeah.
way. A lot of people tell me that Dubai has very good food, and now we're seeing that rack. It's becoming this location where people want to go for holidays, where, you know, Win Al Marjan is soon going to be, as you said. And then Abu Dhabi is almost going to be the place where people go, you know, not just for resorts, but for things like concerts, Disneyland. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to be in the future. But I feel like the reason why this topic, it's so big, it's so historic, it's because Disney is so close to so many people's hearts, not just children, but adults as well.
It goes beyond generation. It's not like a Gen Z thing or a millennial thing or like I don't know, X, Y thing. Every person in the world who is alive right
Loves
now
Disney.
loves
You're not
Disney,
normal if you
has a
don't like
connection
it.
to some prince, princess, some story at least. So it's going to be very interesting. Talking about Miral, Warner Bros. Them, Yas, Waterworld, their whole website has the whole long list. You can see it yourself as well. So yeah, they have a very, very long history of giving us such great attractions, and this is the next big attraction.
Disney,
in US, yeah.
there's one in the there's a bunch in the U.S., California, I believe, and then Florida, and then there's also one in France. Was it Tokyo? I don't remember. There was one in Asia, but I remember
so they
that.
say it's 7, right? And this is the 7th, or they already have 7?
I'm not sure about that, but you know, from what I feel is that where Disneyland opens, that's where you know it's a prime location, not, you know, on the earth, not just in a continent in the Middle East, but really on the earth. So I think this really distinguishes the UAE more than we'll ever know.
And
you
the
know,
tourism influx, a lot of money is coming in terms of tourism. So yeah, she was right. California, Florida, then Tokyo, Paris,
Tokyo.
yes, and Hong Kong, Shanghai. These are the 6 locations, and now Abu Dhabi will be added.
And you
as
know,
the 7th
Majid, I remember I
location.
was speaking to Abdullah, and he was asking me about Disneyland, and I was telling him how I went to the one in France, and he was saying, you know, when
Numbers report, they already saw the numbers, they attached the Abu Dhabi thing, and now their market price and the share price skyrocketed. So imagine if it was going to be 5 or 6%, they were like, add more, compound the benefit that we get from this.
100 wide-body jets with an 100 wide-body jets with an option for 100 more in what could be one of the largest aviation deals in recent memory.
And the announcement is expected during Trump's visit to Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Trump has called on Saudi Arabia to boost U.S. trade and investment to $1 trillion, following a $600 billion commitment previously made by His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The UAE, meanwhile, already has announced $1.4 trillion in the U.S.
Until another U.S. president is elected. So I feel until another U.S. president is elected. So I feel
I don't think anyone has ever made Gulf so important, the Middle East so important as he has. Ever made Gulf so important, the Middle East so important as he has. Even with the tariffs, you see the minimum was
10%.
what was put on Middle Eastern. Appease him, so he doesn't slap them with anything else. See, Qatar is a very, like every Middle Eastern superpower is a very interesting case study in itself. Just to give you perspective and then go to Qatar, Saudi Arabia, very big population, very big area to control, but they have so much money. So they have to do something to keep that money rolling. That's the main point. They have done extraordinary in terms of infrastructure, parks, schools, recreation. They can do literally anything.
Education.
And they still will be like historic. Is close people that now AP and Al Jazeera and like 4 or 5 web publications have already reported that he is going to recognize the Persian Gulf as the Arabian Gulf now. So US has never recognized it as the Arabian Gulf. They always call it the Persian Gulf. So that is one big news which was supposed to come out from his mouth before the trip, but it was leaked. It's always like that. Someone tells someone and someone eventually tells someone. And now the Persian Gulf is going to be called Arabian Gulf officially by the US as well.
That is really
So yeah, so
interesting.
we'll talk about the importance of why Arabian Gulf and why Persian Gulf tomorrow. It's a very long topic, and obviously we also need to be confirmed on a lot of things. But it's a very interesting thing. He's not only doing trade, he is also trying to appease people. Like, okay, no Persian Gulf, let's call it Arabian Gulf. So we'll talk about the importance of this
Definitely
tomorrow.
a performer.
Yeah.
Now, for our third topic for today, in a landmark ruling, Meta has secured a $168 million verdict against Israeli spyware developer NSO Group. Now, the decision delivered by a U.S. federal court in California concludes a 6-year legal battle over NSO's use of its Pegasus spyware to hack into WhatsApp. Now, Meta, which owns WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram, accused NSO of targeting 1,400 users, many of them journalists, activists, and human rights defenders.
And the court awarded Meta $444,719, nearly $444,000 in compensation damages, and an additional $167.3 million in punitive damages. The case marks one of the most significant legal victories in the fight against commercial spyware and surveillance abuse. Meta alleged that NSO exploited a vulnerability in WhatsApp's system to access user phones without consent.
Now, NSO Group has claimed that Pegasus is intended for law enforcement and counterterrorism, but the spyware, according to Reuters, has been linked to
concerns about transparency and accountability.
Now, legal experts say the ruling sets a powerful precedent in holding spyware vendors accountable for abuses, with surveillance tools under growing scrutiny. Now, just a while ago, Google acquired Wiz for more than $30 billion. I believe it was one of the biggest acquisitions that ever happened in Israel. Now, the group Wiz, previously, Google tried to buy them out for $23 billion, but I believe that they refused, and they were later bought this year for $32 billion. So
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that
By espionage and cyber attacks and whatnot. The main technicality was in all of this that Meta put the cases that there was a bug in WhatsApp. So to an extent, I still think it's Meta problem as well, that if you had a bug and you didn't know about it, and you've built the software, it's your problem
But
also.
imagine it was a 6-year battle in court.
So
6
eventually
years.
they won, but I don't think even we saw the amount, 7 million for 15 users only to hack 15 phones. Imagine the money this company has made. So this is like not even a dent in their finances. They'll happily pay it and just come out. I think the biggest problem for them would be the legal repercussions, not the monetary repercussions. That this case will now set a precedent, and anyone who thinks they've worked with Pegasus or were hacked by Pegasus, they can go to the court, tell there is a precedent already set that these guys do this, and win cases against them. So apparently I was reading yesterday, but I couldn't read the whole article. Too excited yesterday. Got my license, so yeah. But I will find that article. There is a local Middle Eastern startup as well, which is taking over. I remember the number in the shoulder of the story that they did 150 million in sales. So there is a very nice Middle Eastern
It's a
startup.
spyware firm?
They don't call themselves spywares. No one calls themselves spywares. They all call it security, cyber security, cloud security. They give it a name, which is a very nice name. But again, see, there is ethical hacking. There's ethical cyber security. There's ethical firms. So it's good that someone else is growing up from this place. The name starts with P. I completely forgot it because, again, I wasn't focusing. I just read it and I was like, okay, I'll bookmark it and read it later. But again...
Is it Paramount?
I think yes, it's Paramount,
Paramount?
right? You found
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. They're doing good in the industry in the local area, and most probably we'll see not just one but a lot of companies in this space because cybersecurity is one of the biggest issues as we move towards digital. Everything is literally digital now. The 2 days ago we talked about uh, money flows, right?
Yeah, money
So
flows.
it's a very conventional system which everyone uses in their
Exactly. They
countries
took
with
something
some
so
name.
traditional and then they
But they put it on
digitalized it.
digital, right? So everything is being so digitized that cybersecurity becomes one of the most important
Oh
aspects
my
in it.
God, Magic, you know what I actually noticed? I just remembered this. You know Kumera?
The startup?
No, no,
That's what.
Chimera. It's like Botim, but better.
Oh, okay. No, I only use
Basically,
Bootem.
I love Botim, but I also Botim is like for my mom and the
Oh,
grannies. That's why I use
easier.
it. Yeah, it's easier because they love it.
Yeah.
But Chimera, I've been using it for a while, and I noticed something. Basically, I was on a video call with someone, and I came to make a bank transaction. And when I came to make the transaction while I was on the call, Chimera warned me and said, "Hey, warning,
Don't.
you should not." I ignored the warning. I'm like, it's okay. They're not robbing me. There aren't millions to rob here.
Yeah.
It's fine. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's a prepaid card. I won't be robbed badly. So I didn't care about it. I ignored it. But I think that's so interesting that they warned me. It's like, who is watching? George
Yeah.
Orwell was right.
Someone is watching.
He honestly, someone is always watching.
There's this, just before we move on to the story, this is a discussion I had with one of my friends. He works for a company who do sustainability setup for any building.
What
so
is it
if,
called?
Company name is very interesting. Just give me 1 second. As soon as I start talking about it, I'll remember it. But what they do is basically when you're building anything, complex building, anything, they give you the sustainability certificates and they help you with soundproofing and all that. As soon as this company, he started working with that company, so we had chats about smart buildings. And smart buildings are very IoT based, internet over things. So all these things are digitized. So literally with cyber, if you don't have a good cyber security for your smart building as well, you can get hacked. Your whole building, the lights, everything can be controlled by someone. So cyber security, we don't emphasize on it that much. We don't even talk about it a lot on the show. But cybersecurity is one of the biggest industries that's silently growing on the side as everything is going digital. So yeah, this story is very important from that perspective. That be careful.
I just got goosebumps. I did.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, be careful.
Definitely.
On your digital platforms.
You have to be careful. And
Yeah.
finally, for our last topic of the day, to end it on a very inspiring note, two of the UAE's most prominent tech startups, fintech firm Tabby and cloud kitchen operator Kitopi, are preparing for public listings, but say challenges still remain. Now, speaking at the Capital Markets Summit in Dubai this week, the companies highlighted issues around investor access and the impact of oil-linked regional volatility.
And Tabby, founded in 2019 and last valued at $3.3 billion, is targeting a 2026 IPO next year. Kitopi, launched in 2018, says it may go public within 2 to 3 years if macroeconomic conditions remain strong. But both companies raised concerns that global investors are struggling to access IPOs in the Gulf due to limited allocation.
Now, Tabby CEO Hussam Arab warned that international investors are losing interest, and he quote unquote said, they do the work, they're sold on the market, and then they get a sliver of supply, he said. Now, he also flagged broader recession risks and the impact on consumer credit performance.
Kitopi CEO Mohammed Balut echoed these sentiments, citing oil price volatility as a potential delay factor. If the oil price changes and things don't perform well, this was a good opportunity to double down and do more. That's what Balut said. Brent crude is currently trading at a 4-year low.
Now, Tabby serves over 14 million users across 4 MENA markets and partners with over 40,000 merchants. Kitopi is a pioneer of the kitchen-as-a-service model, running over 200 kitchens and works with top brands like McDonald's. Both firms aim to test whether the Gulf's tech sector is ready for global investor appetite. or still held back by structural limitations. Now, when I take a look at this story, Majid, the reason why I said it's so inspiring is because think of it like this. Hussam Arab is a Saudi Arabian. He founded Tabby in the UAE, in Dubai, in 2019. Tabby reached unicorn status after 4 years of founding with a $200 million Series D round. When do you hear of that? Every single day. You don't. Where after 4 years, a company is hailed as a unicorn. You know, I remember when I was watching this video of venture capitalist Noor Suwaid speaking, one of the first women in the Middle East to launch an IPO, she was saying that one of her favorite projects, people that her company invested in was Tabby. It was in Hussam Arab. She said that he was great to work with. I think it's such an inspiring story because they scaled so quickly and they succeeded so quickly, and it's almost this. There's so much cultural significance here. A Saudi Arabian bringing a unicorn, launching it in the UAE, and then expanding it across the Gulf.
Yeah. The good thing about all these initial founders that I see who started these things like 10 years ago, Balut, Hussam Arab, the Swivel guy, forgot his name. I sent you the video in the morning with him, his interview with Tawfiq Rede. Mustafa, the founder of Swivel. All these people, there's a very widely shared criticism on them. That that they all copied an idea from the West and they just brought it here, so they didn't make something new. And what I always think of that is they did copy an idea. It's not bad. Facebook copied hundreds of ideas of other apps. Everyone does that. In a big industry, if you make something which works, always people will copy the idea and give it their own USP or a little.
Instagram gave us those reels
Threads
to copy
is there
TikTok.
because of X, and X founder who sold it to Elon Musk made Blue Sky. So everyone is copying each other's idea. That's not the problem. The good thing that you should acknowledge is that they brought those ideas, localized them. That was the biggest achievement that I saw in all these founders. They didn't just copy paste the idea like, okay, this, let's bring it here. Buses, let's bring swivel buses here, and they localized it so much, and all their problems originated from their personal experiences. Mustafa Swivel had to find a ride, and in Egypt's busy streets, it's very difficult to hail a taxi and all that. He was like, okay, a lot of people need this. Personal experience grew an idea. Tabby, Hussam wanted to split payments but didn't want to pay interest because he's a Muslim, and a lot of Muslims don't like interest. He's like, okay, interest-free, Sharia-compliant payments. So all these people, they should be acknowledged for localizing those products. Obviously, they copied the idea. No one is denying it. But focusing on that is wrong. And their success actually speaks about it, that they didn't just copy it. If they would have just copied it, no one would use their services. Everyone would still be using the Western services. Like PayPal recently came, and we already have so many local payment systems.
Do you have examples, Majid?
Zena is one of the...
Where is it based?
It's in UAE. They just launched their tap payment. So Zena is one of the payment gateways and startups. And then we have government level, and then banks already are so nicely connected in the UAE that you don't need anyone. So a lot of these big players, they are coming here, but they know that there is local players who have some share of the market. So either they'll come and do M&As, like merger and acquisitions, and that way our locally grown startups will exit on a very high 10x note.
I don't agree with that idea of they copied them, because if you look at mankind itself, any idea that anybody has ever come up with, somebody else has been thinking about or has been in the process of doing. It's just how well you launched something, how well you marketed it, and the level of discipline that you put into it. I remember I heard there's this saying, Majid, on TikTok that a lot of people from Gen Z use whenever they see something, and it's like, oh my God, do I not have one original experience on this earth? Seriously, we all share that like collective conscience. So I don't agree with that fact of copying. We needed it. So
I think, see, even if you, I don't remember the author. I don't know. I'm so bad with names sometimes. There's this book which I read, and it had a very crazy idea, and I loved it, and I thought that someday if I want to start something, if I want to start a business or anything, I will do
Yeah.
this exactly. And the whole crux of the suggestion was never start something new if you want to be rich quickly or you want to be successful quickly. Because if you start a new thing, if you break the market with some new innovation, it will take you a lot of time to just take it to people and make them understand. The best idea is take any product which is doing great in the market,
You're right.
make a copy, and don't just copy paste it. Innovate it in your own way. So Tabby, there's broken payments, like breakups of payments already in the US, in Europe, and they've been there for like 10, 15 years, 20 years now. But he brought it here, and his innovation was Sharia compliant and no interest. So he gave it his twist. So they didn't just copy paste it, they innovated it for the region. So it's a very nice idea. And I think Tabby,
It
if
is.
someday if it expands to US and Europe, the Muslims would love to use it. Because
course.
again, Sharia compliant
Yeah.
and interest free.
And
So, very nice idea.
It is, and you know, Majid, like just on that quote that you
Yeah.
just brought up, I've heard it before too.
Yeah, right?
I think this was something that I've been told before by a mentor that I've had, a teacher who told me that in life you do not need to always take the back door of the house. You can just go through the front door. You know, that does not. We don't need to overcomplicate things to achieve success. Sometimes following the simplest routes are truly the best routes. And I just want to wrap that up for you guys. Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 1.6 million monthly listeners across all platforms. Thank you for making this possible. And if you're one of them, we appreciate you. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.